Alright, we're back after a break, and we've got Katie up with her film.
This isn't my favourite film ever, and it's also not quite as grim as some of the other choices, but I have to be that guy and go for something nice.
That's pretty fucking grim.
But the way it's done,
it impacts me more than racism.
The way she get done.
wow. So, film, if you haven't figured out, is Juno. But it's hard to explain to people why it's such a good film, because there's no like huge drama, there's no big twist at the end, but there's something about it that just makes me, I don't know, it just makes me happy. It's the film I put on when I just need to watch something that I know I will be like, love it, I'll just love it.
Can I ask a question, right? Uh-huh. Is it because it's like watching any Hugh Grant film, right?
No, because I hate Hugh Grant.
No, but you know what I mean, like you know it's all going to turn out alright, except there's less action.
Not really, because that's only because I watch it all the time. But at first, no, you don't really know where they're going with it. Because it's a slightly different take on that issue than what you would usually.
I thought it was horrible.
Why?
I don't know, because see, for once, right, the soundtrack was spot on, because I can't get that song stuck out of my head now.
Aye,
the song, like,
everybody knows.
The music in Juno is amazing, right? I couldn't engage with it, and I sat and I tried my hardest, because Alison really likes the film, that my girlfriend.
Your long-suffering girlfriend.
Clearly.
Yeah. I'd be suffering if I had to deal with that cock every night. I'm only kidding. Alison,
David would know all about that.
Yay. Mum, Dad, if you're listening to that. Well done, big man. Well done, big man. No, I'm only kidding. Like, no, but Alison really liked that film, and she told me, right, we usually have a 10-minute rule, right? And I persevere past the 10-minute rule. In films, you dirty
I was impressed.
Anyway, 10-minute rule when it comes to films. If it's not a yes from both of us in 10 minutes, then the film gets turned off.
That's not ever happened.
No, look here, look at it. It works well, because my film picks are actually always pretty good. She'll be the first to admit it. Juno, I soldiered through it, right? I did soldier through, and I just couldn't get in it at all. I just didn't enjoy it. I think that the actors in it, like, what's her name, Ellen Page, I think she's a really good actress. I just didn't engage with the characters at all. I just, who's that wee skinny guy?
Michael Cera.
Aye, Michael Cera.
I related quite a lot to him.
Being really tall.
Yeah.
apart from being about 2 feet taller, he's pretty much the same person as David.
Except he's got less growth in his chin.
And second in the race all the time.
Actually,
no, that's quite a deep way. Don't put yourself down, Dave. Don't put yourself down. Welcome to Gavin Callander.
Anyway, I heard you always come first. So.
Oh.
Anyway.
Wow.
Who told you that? Was it Paul? Was it Paul? Did
I
Paul
heard
tell you
that.
And my husband just quoted Juno because it's such a quoteable film, and that's part of it, because I think the dialogue is interesting. And some of, like, I laugh, and I do genuinely think that the dialogue in it's clever, and I can quote it to anybody who's seen it.
I think it's alright. I think it's quite funny in parts, and it's quite quotable. I have seen it about 45,000 fucking times with Katie, my wife. But no, I think it's an alright film. It's light, and sometimes that's what you need.
My
Your
favourite.
long-suffering wife.
But in a way it's not, and that's why I like it, because I do enjoy a slightly painful, poignant kind of realism, and that's what it is. The couple that adopt the baby, you know, there's stuff going on with them there that is relatable. There's her performance as someone that young. She was only like 17 or 18.
I suppose it's
unique at the time, and
unique from that point of view, because I couldn't name you another film that deals with that issue. You know, teenage pregnancy.
But there's all that teen mum and all that nonsense, and it deals with it in a very, very different and not necessarily right way.
No, agreed.
And
I think it is very. I mean, when you strip it back, like if you look at it from a sort of not just looking at Brown film. It's quite a hard hitting issue, and I don't know why I didn't like it, and I might go back and watch it again just because everyone I've spoken to who's watched it tends to like it. I don't know anyone who says it's shit other than me, and
probably as a gender thing though. Like you and me haven't engaged with that film the same way. I don't mean I'm not making a sexist point. I'm just saying that it's not got an issue in it that I personally relate to because I've personally never had a teenage pregnancy.
But neither have I. So
really though, we can't.
Can I say something?
Well, no, but and I'll be completely honest and like open and say that no, I haven't. But I'm an adopted child, and that's really the issue there because that's what she chooses to do in her situation.
Okay, so there's that dimension.
And so maybe it's that, but I really do think that it's more than that. It's the whole thing, and it's also and I know what you're saying about the Hugh Grant thing, but it isn't because it's a kind of inside out love story, kind of, because it happens and they're not actually together, and it's kind of backwards in a way from any kind of formulaic
my favourite thing
way of doing that.
Alison
which
Janney,
makes it interesting. What's that?
Alison Janney is Juno's mum in it.
Yes.
Who like at the same time I was watching Juno. At the same time I was watching The West Wing. I watched Juno and basically pissed the bed because Alison Janney was in it.
Well, I mean, I've like thought she was hilarious since like Drop Dead Gorgeous, which was like a billion years ago, just like stupid comedy about beauty pageants with Kirsten Dunst. Yeah, and she's like crazy stepmom in that as well, but she's just hilarious.
No, it's a teen film. I didn't think it was bad. I think I probably quite liked it when I watched it. It's just I haven't watched it in about 10 years.
I wouldn't say it's as bad as The One, man. I wouldn't say like The One. Can we just we never really sort out the rating. So 5 is a masterpiece, 4 is excellent, 3 is good. Yeah, it's good. I'd recommend it. 2 is meh.
One's awful.
One's awful. Yeah, there's not many films I've ever watched that I think are awful.
I've watched a handful, not gonna lie.
No, genuinely, that are ones like for
Panic
ones.
Room.
Is there a zero?
No, there's
like
no
nothing about that film was good.
No, there has to.
No.
It's like getting an 8 in your standard grades. It's like you put your not an 8's not turning up. It's getting a 7. You put your name on the exam paper.
You made a movie.
The fact that I actually got
That's it. We acknowledge that that's a difficult
reward
thing.
enough to know that
You made a movie, like, do you know what, like, I don't care how shite a film is, like, I want they've actually gone through, which is no doubt a painstaking process. They've no doubt looked at it in Edinburgh and thought, this is fucking pants.
We can't do anything about it.
We can't do anything about it, but do you know what? We made a movie, we're going to move on from this.
Commit.
Which is ironically the opposite way of how Adam Sandler's career's gone.
There's just some films I feel a bit funny about giving them 20%.
But you have to be honest that is a fair point. It got made into a film, and think of all the things that don't make it that far.
Okay,
somebody somewhere
Clerks,
paid for that.
Which I've not seen Clerks, right? But Clerks get made on a budget of what do you say, 28k,
6 or something. Like paid for on credit cards.
Aye,
getting good funding for it.
Yeah.
See if that had been a shit movie, which I haven't seen it, but I have not heard a bad word spoken about the film. Well,
that might maybe be my favourite film if I was to actually forced to say it.
We'll watch it and we'll do a proper thing on it then.
I couldn't argue with that. That's got to be.
But no, just
definitely one of my favourite comedy films.
Just the thing is though, see if it had been shit, see the fact that there were obviously blood, sweat and tears going into that film. Well, that's outstanding. You look at the Jackass films, which have not really got any substance to them, but they made the films. They put a lot of effort in.
They were sweating it during the process.
There was that one where Preston went on the cross trainer and Steve-O drank his sweat.
Wow.
In his sweatsuit with the big funnel coming out, man, and spewed straight away. Lot of blood, lot of sweat, lot of tears, man.
Literally, that couldn't.
I feel like crying myself now after hearing that. But thanks for talking about how shit the shittest of the films can be while I'm talking about Juno. But
no, sorry, that came because I would say Juno's a 2 for me because
for me it's not. I'm not saying it's my favourite film ever, and I'm not saying it's actually a 5. For me, I would give it a 4. But there's something about it. It's that thing you can't name that I get with TV a lot that I just love it.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm in love with.
I'd give it a 3 because it's very unique in the way that it deals with the issue.
I'd give it a 3. I think it's the kind of film that I would watch more than once.
Yeah.
And
See,
not just
just to kind of back myself up as well, you can give a 3 because you would say, yeah, definitely watch that, and there's the kind of qualified 3 where you say, if you like this kind of thing, then yes, you should watch it.
Yeah.
There's variants in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a 3. I think it's got a place. I think it's a good film, and it's a film you could watch again
It's
if you
certainly
were in the
got a
right
following
kind of mood for it.
from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Kind of
it's
era.
definitely a cult film. And
I'm sorry guys, I'm inadvertently staring at Katie's chest because I'm trying to read the words on this.
It says science, bitch.
Scandium and bismuth. Is that what you named them?
No, but now that you've said that,
Jesus.
I feel really awkward.
Okay, so back to me.
Can we also just qualify as Katie works in the tit industry?
Doing a science job.
Yeah.
So
I work in the medical devices industry, but thanks for that.
I think what we're doing right now may qualify as the tit industry.
Oh yeah. Let's play this as a tit industry. This is a tit fact.
This is 4 tits at a table.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
By the way,
that's the thing. We've yet to name this podcast.
it might actually work.
For tits at the table.
Our listeners have just witnessed the creation of the name of this
the
podcast.
birth of the podcast.
The birth of the podcast.
It doesn't pass the Bill Simmons test though. It says you have to imagine yourself like going to a reception in a big office and saying, "Hi, I'm David Angelini from 4 tits at a table."
I would
I'm getting an
do
appointment with-
that
Easy.
deadpan.
I would not.
I would do that without even flinching.
Oh, it doesn't pass the Bill Simmons
You
test.
could just call it six T's if you want to be polite. Everyone for 6 T's.
There's more than 6 T's here though.
No.
Is that?
Oh no, the table, that's 5.
We need to name the podcast. I think 4 tits at tables in a lead into it.
That's the working title.
Right, so back to me.
Drunken Disorderly will also work if we ever do a podcast at the weekend.
On
No.
any subject.
I think see the one we're going to do with Ants Martin playing the guitar.
It's just me, you and Ants just steaming.
That's drunken disorder.
Aye, just me, you and Ants.
So-
Ants just doing Peter Griffin impressions and playing a guitar and me
Okay,
and
read-
just rolling about laughing.
Read
Wow.
out the Magna Carta where he's reading
I'm here for
that.
the reading Urban Dictionary definitions to along to a track.
I love a wee bit of Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, I think we're going to do that in smaller instalments. I
That
think
could
it's
be,
going to be like Urban Dictionary of the day.
could be drunken disorderly. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's good then.
At the moment we're 4 tits at a table for the movie podcast.
You're saying.
What if there's more than here's the thing though, what if there's more than 4 of us one
But that's a guest.
What if there's less than 4 of us one time?
Then that's 3 tits at a table.
Yeah.
Also, when you move away, when you need to do it by
Who's moving away? Nobody's moving away.
We apologise for the breaking of service. We will deal with this issue as soon as possible.
And we're back!
So my second favourite movie is Gladiator. So I'm going to bring that to the table now. Gladiator. Second favourite movie. It's got everything: performances,
Naked men.
authenticity.
That's why David likes it, not me.
Wolf was always my favourite.
My favourite was the tiger.
Or Saracen.
It's the tiger that I killed. Killed all 3 of the tigers. Typhus and Gaul.
I'm talking about.
that joke just go way over your head there, or were you just ignoring it?
I'm ignoring it. That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
I'm totally trying to join in the joke. I can't remember any of their names. I'm trying to say the woman that everybody
Storm.
fancied.
Is there one called Storm?
Fuck off, right? Gladiator. Russell Crowe. Right, Russell Crowe when he was well, maybe his only ever great performance. His second ever great performance. His first ever of 2 great performances.
No,
Really?
no. Second, Cinderella Man.
What about Les Mis?
Oh,
He's
Jesus.
awful in Les
He's a
Mis.
shit singer.
Yes!
No, can I
I was
just
trying
throw
to
something
roughly
out?
just,
Apologies, right, but can I just throw something? And this is something that may be a cop out for Russell Crowe, right? But if you take Javert's character in Les Mis, Javert's supposed to be very stoic, very down the line.
Okay, yeah.
Whether intentional or not, Russell Crowe's lifeless performance actually.
And out
No, he wasn't.
He's a
He
terrible singer.
He wasn't.
He's
He
not.
No,
Pierce
he
Brosnan
was-
and Mamma Mia, but he's pretty bad.
No,
He wasn't a tune.
He
He played it
bang
safe.
on tune. He
He
was
just-
bang on tune.
but he
there
cut
was no
corners.
He's got a
deviation. He did.
horrible sounding voice then, because something
No, but
sounds off about it throughout
No,
the
it
whole
does,
film
but
for me.
the argument you can make is that he's supposed to not be great. Like
He's like emotionally detached
exactly.
character.
I just don't see
Look at the
through that, like, bigger picture. When it's
Here's-
a musical,
here's
if you were
what I'll
cast
say.
in a musical, you should be a
It's
good
my
singer.
turn to defend Russell Crowe this time. I think that's a brave thing to do, knowing that you're not a good singer, to put yourself forward.
over the beer.
Eiffel Tower fight.
That's fine, but then
It's a
they
brave
cast
thing.
him in that, and
No,
that's
no,
a
no,
silly
no,
thing to do.
I don't know.
They also cast what's her name, Amanda Seyfried, who's shite and all.
What are you talking about?
Seriously, my wee sister's the best singer I know. My mum's one of the best singing teachers I know.
I was conscious of the shortcuts that he took to like perform those songs, but I think it's still a brave thing to do. I think he put himself forward for that. He thrust himself into it. He obviously won an audition against other people.
I know, but that's what I don't understand.
Unbelievable to think that maybe he was the best singer out of all of them. I doubt he was, but he got the part, and I don't think there was a huge problem with it.
Yeah, but
I do, because at the
No,
end of
but-
the day, as a musical, you wouldn't get a part in the stage production if you weren't up to scratch.
Like
Like,
I
singing
said-
wise.
like I said,
Bad
no.
casting then, don't blame Russell Crowe.
No,
Like,
here's-
I'm
here's-
blaming bad
No,
casting.
here's
Aye,
the
no.
thing as well though, right? If you go to an audition, you've got to sell why you're playing a part in a certain way. You've got to break down the way that you want to play the part, how you interpret the part. If he's gone and he's sold it that way and they think, do you know what? That's fucking genius.
I agree with that for straight parts, but because it is a musical, what I think is that is secondary to the singing, which should
Oh,
be a
no,
given.
that-
In that
that's-
case, Amanda Seyfried shouldn't have got the job either because she puts on her voice as if she's been taught how to sing out a textbook.
I disagree with the
Well, I
premise
think
as
she's a
well.
great singer.
By the way, I
Oh,
think
shocking.
the stage versions of this are all about singing. The movie version of it was about acting and singing at the same time, which is why Eddie Redmayne was perfect.
That's what,
Eddie Redmayne was
that's what
absolutely
any musical's about, whether
best
stage or
performance.
screen.
No, but like if you watch the stage production of Les Mis, it's not about the acting; it's about the singing.
It is if you're actually there and you feel it. Like, I've been to see countless like stage musicals, and the acting is like
I
it
think
is
the,
there.
I think the key
But it's not at the same level.
the key to making this movie
It's
was
a
in
different
many
form.
cases, it's not.
the key to making this movie was having both, which is why Hugh Jackman. He didn't have a strong performance actually in a lot of his songs either. Wasn't perfect, but he was fucking great in the role as
Eddie Redmayne was perfect.
Eddie Redmayne is
was perfect.
amazing in that film.
Who's the other guy who's part of Resistance?
Oh, I can't remember.
Who
Redmayne's
sings
not
Red and Black.
Red
I
and
can't
Black?
remember his name either.
Eddie Redmayne singing. That's one of the times that I found it was so emotional. Was
I
when
was
Eddie
in
Redmayne sang
Empty Chairs.
Empty
Empty
Chairs.
Chairs.
Floods
'Cause
of
he's-
tears.
He's acting and singing at the same time, which must be fucking really hard.
Eddie Redmayne will go on it and win at least an or two Oscars because I think he's a genuinely phenomenal actor.
He's outstanding. I've only seen him in 3, maybe 4 things, and he's been outstanding every single
Aye.
one.
He's great.
Aye.
Oh yeah, Theory of Everything.
We just watched that the other night
We-
again.
My week
just-
was
The second or
My
third
week with
time.
Marilyn
Can we?
as well.
Can I just say as
another
well?
outstanding film.
Whilst we're having a circle jerk over Eddie Redmayne, can we get back to actually talking about Dave's movie?
I know.
Yeah, let's do that.
Les Miserables is not my second favourite.
Although it was for quite some time.
Well, I would watch it about 10 times. I would watch it again right now if you fucking wanted to. I thought it was good.
I'm here for that.
It's not a 5 though because Russell Crowe can't fucking sing.
I agree.
I don't think it's a 5. But but Gladiator is a 5.
Yes.
Gladiator, I
100% a 5.
I loved it. We were just talking about it a little bit off air as well. We all talking about Oliver Reed's character, which even like all the small parts of this movie kind of like work together to make all the performances in it were just brilliant. I thought
What's the Austrian guy's name? Max,
the big guy.
the big guy. He's like a former something in Mr. Competitive
I can't remember his name.
Olympia.
I know him as big guy with the red dot on his chest.
He's amazing. Big guy who throws wooden sword at someone and kills them with it. Yeah, he's amazing. So many good performances.
Great movie. That's another movie that made me cry. Not in a happy way this time. Definitely in a sad way.
Yeah.
In the movie, the score for Gladiator, again talking about music, the way that whole kind of the climax of the whole movie, the kind of the end scene kind of all comes together in music was just beautiful. I really loved that movie. I mean, it's got everything. It's got action. The performances were great. There's a really touching storyline. There's the whole freedom fighter, undercurrent. kind of subplot that's going through the whole movie as well. Try to release Rome from the tyranny of a,
tyrannical dictator.
Yeah, because originally Marcus Aurelius had tried to turn it into more of a republic, and so there's it's got so many subplots. It's got so many subplots in it.
What's her name? Connie Nielsen's Connie Nielsen's amazing in it as well. Connie Nielsen. That's probably, I've only seen her in that, and I've seen her in like half of it. The only two films that really sort of stand out for her playing a major role and being good is that and Basic, and it's not really a thing.
Yep. Great story, great performances. The dialogue as well kind of had an authenticity to it because it was written almost. It was like the dialogue in it's very Roman. I don't know how that doesn't even sound right when you
regal.
Regal. It's like it's got a very kind of proper. It gives it a kind of epic. It's an uplifting kind of. I don't know what the word I'm trying to fucking say is, but it puts the
I know
dialogues.
what you mean. I'm trying to think of it.
I know I can't
There's a
articulate
way
it.
of
It's elevated. The dialogue's elevated.
Kind of antiquated almost.
Yeah,
but
exactly. So it's
it
like a
gives it
kind of
something.
old-fashioned, like all the way through the movie. It's written
Latin
like that.
but in English.
That's the way. That's the sentiment I'm trying to explain. But there's got to be better words for that. Dialogue was great. I mean, the authenticity.
The battle scene at the start.
Yeah, that's how it starts as well. That's how it starts. That's the start of the movie, which is almost the end of something else.
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah. Just all of it. I loved it. It's my second favourite movie ever. Made me cry, like I say.
It's
5.
Perfect.
It is a masterpiece. It is definitely a masterpiece. I know everyone and Katie haven't watched it. Definitely go and watch it. I'll give you the fucking DVD to go home with.
Watch it with the director's subtitles as well. Once you've watched it the first time, I used to watch it with director's subtitles. I can actually almost quote them, which is.
I get you. I'm like that with things.
It's shocking. It used to be my favourite film. Like when I was a teenager, I used to watch it at least once.
It's introduced a whole other thing into the zeitgeist, like we say a lot of these other movies have, with the whole.
It was the first kind of really
Maximus Decimus Meridius.
but it was also like kind of the first epic battle scene that I can really remember, where you like Braveheart kind of did it, but it wasn't in the same scale.
Yeah, I watched Braveheart before I watched that. I watched Braveheart first.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
But what was there wasn't really in before it, and I know Braveheart had the battle scenes, but Braveheart was like kind of cheap in places. As much as I don't want it.
It was cheap. It was low budget. That woman battle wasn't low budget. That was great.
Aye.
Yeah. No, that's again my second favourite movie. Definitely watch it, guys. Definitely watch it. It was fucking awesome. Impactful and emotional, and it made you, makes you. Does it make you Google? Does it?
Yeah, it made me Google.
Surely it does. If it's
Yeah,
historical.
Marcus Aurelius. Like everyone's kind of real in it, and
it also gives birth to that whole John Coolshaw impersonation of it in Dead Ringers. Which if you haven't seen it, go and check that out as well.
also was the first major performance of Tommy Flanagan.
Was it?
Who then became key and instrumental in Sons of Anarchy.
It's also in 24, I think.
And Braveheart, as already mentioned.
Aye, it's true. I thought it was his first major, but then he became like a, I don't know.
This guy, he marries his wife and she gets pumped.
And then he goes in.
Goes mental and
Well,
acts.
Mel Gibson turns around and goes, "You can have him," and he just goes, "Aye, beautiful."
Aye. It's pure Scottish.
Aye.
Everyone in Scotland can relate to that.
Especially because the scars are actually genuine.
Oh yeah. Do you want to tell a story about that?
Well, there's two stories, right? The first one I heard through hearsay. The first one I heard was Ridley Scott's version, so I'll tell that second. I'm assuming that's more true. The first one I heard that was hearsay was that he was DJing one night at a club in Glasgow. Someone tried to steal his DJing kit and he put up a fight and got slashed in both cheeks. Second one I heard was that someone tried to steal his leather jacket and he got slashed in both cheeks. So I'm assuming something.
That's different from. There's both are different from the story I heard where he was just in a pub.
In Paisley.
Aye.
That's what
Just
happened.
basically put his pint glass to his mouth and someone slammed it in his face and caused those
that just seems wholly unrealistic.
I
I heard
don't
that
know,
I heard that it happened in a pub in Paisley, but I don't think it was that. That just doesn't seem plausible.
I think it's one of those because it's definitely a blade that's made those.
Tommy Flanagan, if you're listening to this podcast, please tell us how your scars actually happened.
Retweet, big man, retweet.
So back to Gav for his second film.
My second film's like Katie and Irvin are kind of making this difficult because I don't want to do another thing where neither of them have really watched something. So I'll pass on to Irvin for the moment just to try and think of something you might have seen, because I feel like an absolute tit if I go and say what I think I'm going to say.
Well, that's 4 tits at a table.
I'm really terrified that this is what we're going to be called now. Don't know if I like it. Anyway,
before pushing a piano.
Aye.
Can anyone play the piano?
Me.
No.
Well, then there we go.
It's Evan.
Aye. I think I'm going to. The next film I'm going to bring up is probably my favourite film of all time. It's A Clockwork Orange.
I made Dave watch it.
I can contribute.
I made Dave watch it.
Can I?
I think this is probably the Marmite classic films, because the cheesy kind of saying is that you either love it or you hate it. But I just think it's an absolutely fantastic film.
And I hate it.
And my wife hates it.
It's hard, man.
I think. I mean, first of all, we talk about soundtrack. I think the soundtrack on that is absolutely spot on with the classical music. Yeah, with Ludwig van. And it's actually intertwined into the story as well. So I think it's a really, really good use of music. And then the story as well, I think it's got that thing I spoke about with American History X, where once it ends, you're left thinking about how it's all going to turn out again. I think it's suggested at the end that he's going to go back to his old ways, but you never quite know. It's always left to the viewer's imagination on that one.
Yeah.
There's lots of talking points for this one actually, because even the dialogue is kind of true to the books.
Well, the
a bit
banning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As well. The fact that it was banned for how many years?
I don't. Technically, in the UK, it wasn't actually banned. It was the director, Stanley Kubrick, withdrew it from sale because someone committed a murder and claimed it was because of that film.
Aye.
And it was very recently, I think, certainly in the 2000s, that it was actually re-released again. It's just basically there's so many kind of talking points about it and about what the message actually is. Because there's the whole thing where he's super violent and then they, inverted commas, cure him.
Can I just say you got it wrong? He's ultra violent.
I was going to say that.
You even watch this film?
Super violent.
Why did I not say ultra violent? Of course it's ultra violent. And he's again, inverted commas, cured, but he's cured in this way that's sort of false. He's conditioned rather than actually taught how to be better. He's almost tricked into being cured.
Why does One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest just jump into my head at this moment?
See, I think
it's like a convulsive therapy thing.
I think it's almost like the best way I can describe it is that it's
a really visceral a reaction that I had to it.
We as a society, so not a society, maybe if you sort of take the word dystopian, you take it to mean something like Cormac McCarthy the Road or something like but do you know what I mean? But that is dystopian. It's like a horrible place where that's allowed to happen. Like
I was gonna say it's like the original dystopian future.
Yeah.
Bleak.
George Orwell sort of aye.
It brings up that thing where the character's such a bad guy, but at the same time you struggle to justify what they did to him. I suppose it's like
he is a horrible guy, man.
He's a horrible guy, but then you're thinking this isn't really humane. It's but like
bear in mind
it's like Guantanamo Bay.
Bear in mind this all happens because he lied to get himself into the programme essentially, like sat and said he was reformed and all that. That's a way to get. So there's also a thing where he brought it on himself.
Manipulative.
Yeah.
Aye.
And
People.
he goes
complete psychopath, sociopath, whatever you want to call him. Like he was a lunatic.
He goes into this as well, I think, thinking that he can beat the system, that he can not be like that.
It's a little vaping incident.
Yeah, let's skip over that.
Ironically, there's a little vaping incident in that as well. Vaping, sorry, vaping. I think
we're all laughing about rape.
There was a wee vaping.
I would like to clarify that I'm laughing at Gav's joke and not the concept of rape.
Of course we're not.
I think there's more than one raping incident in that film as well, but again,
none of them are funny.
You can, yeah.
Rape is never funny.
Unless it's with a clown.
Or by a clown.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Or what is that thing? Piers Morgan getting raped by Lionel?
That would be funny.
Piers Morgan raped by who?
Lionel for Thundercats. It's a Frankie Boyle joke.
Piers
And I apologise.
Piers Morgan getting raped by a lion would also be funny.
Wow.
Anyway.
The thing is, for all of that, and as much as it's actually
tips.
genuinely true, in this story, yes, it's got something to say and it's difficult. I was bored during it. And the reason I say I hate it is because I genuinely had to force myself to keep watching it, and not because of the subject matter, because I was truly bored.
I really like the film, right? I really like it. I get why you were bored though.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of why I would give it a 3. I've read the book. The book, if I was doing a rating of the book, I'd give the book a 4, but I would give the film a 3.
I would probably give it a 3 as well.
I would recommend it, but again, like, it's difficult because Alex, the guy, I can't remember the guy that plays Alex. What's his name?
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell. Like, he's very good, but how many other performances are there really in it? His mum's in it for 5 minutes, the teacher's in it for 5 minutes. The teacher's a creepy bastard, albeit.
Yeah.
It is a very
it's a strange film. Even the way the houses are all laid out and stuff, it gives it that whole dystopian feel now I think about it. Now it's all sort of like I don't know how you describe it. You need to watch
it's
it.
Like the 60s. It's like a weird psychedelic thing, but it's the future, and it's like a different.
It's also got
it's really odd mix of things.
It's also got the Stanley Kubrick thing with the adds to the whole trademark with the psychedelic carpet and stuff like that you've got in The Shining and everything else. But I just think there's so you talk about
Stephen King again.
You talk about cinematography. I think the cinematography and that's really interesting.
True.
It's really good.
You've
got like everything you've just mentioned, the way they dress, the way it's even the actual like
I mean, about the
directorship. Yeah, I mean it's complete in the dialogue as well. It's got the dialogue, the music in it. I've already touched on. I think it's fantastic. The performance by Malcolm McDowell is outstanding as well, and also the other performances aren't maybe quite up to scratch, but they're so insignificant that I don't think it matters.
No. We've had this discussion before actually. Like the impact that this movie has on me is that like the entire way through it I was very, very uncomfortable and pretty disturbed. Like it wasn't an enjoyable experience watching it, but I don't necessarily think that makes it a bad movie. I think that having that, you know, the ability for the writing and the direction and the performances to put that mood across to me and make me feel like that is very, very impressive because of things like that you've just mentioned. It is slightly obscure. It's slightly it's just slightly off my wavelength enough.
It's
all the way all the way through
Makes
it.
you feel uncomfortable.
It made me feel really uncomfortable all the way through it. I never managed to settle watching the entire film, and I think that the ability for it to do that is impressive to me.
Yeah, no, you're right, because a strong negative reaction is still a strong reaction.
See, you say you liked the movie. I didn't like it, but I don't think that makes it a bad movie. It's one of those really, really rare movies.
Requiem for a Dream.
I can see
Requiem for a Dream
because
is
I
another
don't
one.
think it's terrible. I don't
think it's shit. It's definitely not
react
shit.
to it the way a lot of people seem to react to it.
If nothing good happens at the end of a film, I think that people often leave with a bitter taste in their mouth because in life, no, but generally speaking, most people in life want to believe that everything's going to end up alright. Generally speaking.
I have argued before with people that there is a place for a happy ending, but not necessarily always.
I think.
No, what I mean is
not,
in general, that's what people are comfortable with. That's what we've been growing up with. You grow up in Disney films.
I know, but I don't mind. The ending is actually probably one of the better ones.
The ending of that's not. It's not necessarily a happy or sad ending. It's a kind of fucked up, but I think again, like what I touched on, it gives you that scope to imagine what's going to happen in it, which I find really interesting. And go back to what David was saying about it being unsettling. I understand that, but for me, my curiosity overpowered that. I was excited to see how it was going to turn out. I was excited to see what was going to happen. I thought it was really interesting, and it sparked my curiosity, and that's why I love the film so much. And like I said, I can't mark it down. I don't think I would mark it down on any of that on the acting. I don't think I'd mark it down on
I would mark it down on anything.
And I've never read the books. I can't comment on that, but I struggle to see why I wouldn't give it a 5.
I've heard a lot of the dialogue directly from the books.
Yeah, I mean the big thing as well, bear in mind that the book they're much younger. Like that scene at the start,
and I'm aware of that,
they're like
even though I've not read it.
14, 15, and the girl's 12.
Oh, I didn't.
See, I'd not read it, but I know that. And
yeah, I knew that he was supposed to be 15 in it, because he is in that film. He is actually that age. It's just that the actor's much older because he's supposed to be at school and stuff like that. You've got the teacher and everything.
Seems a bit.
He's just quite clearly a bit older than that, but they can justifiably get away with that in cinema.
No, they can't.
So they have to make that older.
All the scenes that's in that. I mean, it's
messed up. I mean, the only thing where his age is remotely alluded to is the fact that he's still at school, but nothing else. I mean, he drives and everything like that, so it's kind of.
I found it was thoroughly unsettling from start to finish, but I was at the same time aware of the art in it.
Yeah, I think it is a very artistic.
It's a really impressive movie, particularly because of the way.
Because you were
make me feel like that.
You were sitting through it, and I saw from your face, I was like, I think I thought when it says, "You alright, man?
You enjoying this?
You enjoying this?" You're like that.
Like
you were sitting like that.
I'm really not enjoying it. But keep it on.
Aye, keep it on. Aye.
But even as someone who had a fairly indifferent reaction to it, and not necessarily a bad one, I still understand. I mean, Kubrickian is like, you know, a word used to describe. I mean, look what it's influenced. Because it's just.
It's truly unique, guys. I think there's not many films that are like that.
There's not a lot of films that can make me have a horrible experience, but make me keep wanting to watch it, and at the end of it, I'm saying I wasn't shit. You know.
And I would still say people should watch it. People
give it a
need
4.
to see it.
I'd give it a 4 because I appreciate everything that went into making it, and then that impact that it has on me. I didn't enjoy it, but I appreciate it.
My issue is, like, for me, I give it a 3 just because. Personally, I think it's very, very good, but I couldn't say to someone I more than recommend it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue, whereas all the things come together, I don't think a lot of people can watch it. I think that if you feel the way that you felt during it,
I wouldn't recommend it to people based on that, because, you know, who would inflict that on somebody really like.
I think
but then I don't
say,
agree with that.
Gran,
I think
watch this movie. It made me feel like this.
I would recommend a film off the back of a negative reaction
Sunday.
easier than an indifferent one.
I think it's not like I said, it's not the kind of thing you're going to recommend to your gran to watch, but I think I would still recommend it to people that I thought.
Not everybody though.
I wouldn't recommend it to everybody, but then there's not many films that I would recommend to everybody. I mean, I'd recommend Gladiator. Would you recommend American History X to everyone?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
There's plenty of people that wouldn't. They want to watch that.
I would recommend that.
I know people who, and I love it. Like American History X would be on my own list as well.
I would recommend that.
There are people I know who couldn't watch that.
It's a bad example.
Would you recommend it to your 4-year-old guys?
Well, age restrictions.
There's an age certification on it that deals with that.
It was just a joke.
Do you recommend Dora Explorer your psycho neighbour? Actually, maybe, because it would maybe chill out for like 5 minutes. But, do you know
I would also give it 3 just because I don't. like I respect it as it's one of those classic
I
films.
think that's kind of where I am.
But I personally can't lie and say I enjoyed it. I just didn't.
I watched it recently and I think I really thought it was good, but I watched it the first time when I was younger and maybe I thought that it's American History X.
No, I'm talking about the actual.
Sorry, Clockwork Orange. I meant to say that. I said American History X, but I meant Clockwork Orange.
Just to clarify.
I watched the Clockwork Orange fairly recently and it was just on a whim, and whilst they're definitely, I mean, you know what it's like, Kubrick definitely elements of genius in it. I think it's one of those ones that's just too hard for me to put a number on it. I'd say 3. I don't know. I still don't. I'd say 3, but I mean that's provisionally a 4. It's either a 3 or a 4. It would really just. I'd need to do a pros and cons list, and I hate doing that.
Well, that was a good one. Bring it to
Brilliant one.
So
I'm going to do something that I wasn't going to do, but because it's such a part of our culture now, I'm just going to have to go there. And because I'm
fucking terrified of what's going to happen
massive
next.
Potterhead, right, I'm going to have to go down the Harry Potter road because that's impacted my life in ways I can't. My favourite one is Half-Blood Prince.
Pick one.
Number 6.
You only get one.
I just got a high five for that. It's my favourite book, it's my favourite film, and I adore it.
Completely agreed.
And that's not just because Snape is my hero forever and always, but it's the twist, because obviously, I mean, now it seems
it's a double twist.
Now it fades, but at the time when I first read that book, I was bawling my eyes out.
I felt betrayed.
I felt genuinely let down, and like for them to turn it back, like, I mean, I have a tattoo to prove my love for this twist.
It's in mine. Don't get excited about it, guys.
No, I'm talking about my Harry Potter.
She's got a barcode in her foot.
I do.
You have a barcode up your arse,
I do have a barcode. Hey, when I stick that foot there.
You leave your labels on your shoes?
No, I have a tattoo of it always with a Harry Potter lightning bolt because I just felt so much, and still to this day will feel so much when I watch that film.
But see, that the whole thing you've just explained, that's my favourite scene in all Harry Potters, is that whole pensive moment where Harry goes back and takes
No.
But I know it's in a different movie, but that's why I think
I know, but I'm saying don't, because I'll cry.
That was my favourite movie. The last one was my favourite one
because
of that.
The last one's my second favourite movie, but I just have this thing. I think it just comes from having read the books as a child before the films ever existed. The sixth one is my favourite story.
I think it's a thing where, like, I mean, I think I started, like, not to sound like I was hipster before hipsters were there. Like, see, when I was younger, there was like a whole huge amount of hype around Harry Potter, and
so I say we all kind of grew up reading it.
But no, when the first one came out and everyone had bought the first one and the second one came out and everyone was going bush about it, I'm like, this story's about a kid who's a wizard who goes, I'm like, this is bullshit.
I was reading Lord of the Rings. I was reading Lord of the Rings instead.
Aye, and then I got the first 2 books for my Christmas and I read them and that was me. And then my dad's what, 60, whatever age your dad, 62 I think. My dad's 48, right? You owe me a pint. And my dad, I gave the books to my dad read it, and my dad was like, it was quality because like, I'd go to bed, if I was going to school the next day, I'd go to bed the next day, I'd come back, my dad would have gone, bought the book at midnight, come back, read it throughout the day.
No,
and then
I can't remember any other time I've done that.
You
buy the book at midnight and you read it.
And the sixth one was the worst for me. I would devoured it.
Aye, but I mean, I did it with everyone. I mean, I could sit and I could read them. Again, we're going back. That's the problem with Harry Potter. That's the only issue I've got with the films, right? It comes back to that whole thing about books. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, see, Deathly Hallows.
I completely honestly, like, and he'll tell you, I'm the most obsessed. Like, you couldn't get a Harry Potter. Like, I'm obsessed. And yeah, I agree to an extent, but I think that those films are perfect. They're perfectly cast. They don't deviate in way any.
I don't think they're perfect.
I do. I couldn't have asked for better.
See, no, I think for me, in the end, it turned out that they were very well cast, but the difference between, I'm going to use Lord of the Rings as an example, because Lord of the Rings cast the characters exactly the way I had them in my mind's eye.
But so did Harry Potter for me.
Harry Potter didn't for me, but in the end, I kind of came round to the idea that these are the way they were always meant to be, and I was wrong.
Mind that awkward moment when Neville became the hot one?
Yeah, but that was kind of after the film started ended. But yeah, that did happen. No, I'll be honest, like, what you're saying about the books is, I read them even, like, I'm older than probably most of you.
Where did you again?
No, we're not going down that road. But my mum brought me the first one in, knowing I don't read things like that. I don't read fantasy, and I was only 10. Like, it's kind of a similar age to what they are, and I just was like, what is this? I'm not reading it. And she was like, oh, everybody's talking about it. And I read one chapter and I was lost forever, and here we are, like, however many years later, and I can't soup a word against it. The movies are perfect for me.
Here's the thing I've got, right? J.K. Rowling as a storyteller is up there with the best of the best. And
feel as a storyteller, I've different feelings about her recently.
No, but I mean, in terms of the Harry Potter, the original, 8 books, we'll call it 7 books.
It has 7 books. They split the last one.
To be fair, the last one should probably have been 2 books. It was a bit of a tome. But here's the thing, right? Do you know what really impressed me was the fact that, see, as the characters grew older, it went from being innocent and it got darker. The films obviously followed the same path, right? But
I like that they followed their lives into the dark place they had to go to.
I don't think it.
I just don't.
It wasn't realistic enough. I thought he analysed it like in a brutal way. I don't think it was.
Well, it's fantasy. It's magic.
I mean, of course
there's fantasy that's not realistic. That's not the right word, but there's high fantasy. I've heard this used. There's high fantasy, which is like completely this can't happen, right? This is like not this can't happen. I don't even know what the best way to describe this. Like, high fantasy is like out there. It's there. Whereas you get fantasy, like you get stuff like Game of Thrones, which is really down to earth. It's very close to where we were.
Exactly. So that's what, like,
I know what you mean.
I don't
One
even
of
know
the things even there is, whilst you've got different races in it, it's very close to what we were.
I don't know where this point fits like into this. I don't know if I'm arguing here, but I'm just trying to make the point. Although that story follows these teenagers growing up, it doesn't explore the sexual reality of being a teenager growing up adequately, because it's in a completely different fantasy universe. They touch on it.
They touch on it, but the fact is, the audience, I don't think she would have necessarily got away with what she wanted to get away with, and that's why she's brought forth.
But remember, her audience are growing up at the same rate as her characters.
But they're not always, because it's endless. It gets new children that age audience all the time.
That was for me part of like she attempted to touch on it with
she touched on it in an innocent way, in like a PG
you got a prom date,
12-way kind of way.
You got a prom date and all this kind of thing. It just didn't.
But then there's that page that everyone disputes.
What page?
There's a page in the last book where people are. It's of dubious kind of nature that he might have had sex with Jenny, and it's just a bit.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
Artistically spoken of, but and she will neither confirm nor deny, because she's quite like that. She quite likes to be deliberately divisive, and I enjoy. And kudos to her for that.
Yeah, I mean the films and books couldn't have made the millions that they made if they
didn't affect people in this way.
For me though, that
visceral, the word you use for that, visceral in a good way though. For me, like literally, I can't.
Can I tell you the
problem? I get goosebumps.
Can I tell you the problem, right? See, when it comes to talking about a Harry Potter film, you always go back to talking about the book. When you talk about a Lord of the Rings film, you talk about a Lord of the Rings film.
I could easily talk about the Harry Potter film without talking about.
No, but I mean in general.
But in this context, I could talk to you about I love that film.
Again, though, there's the other issue. I mean, it's John Williams who does the soundtrack for it, right? who did his usual sort of spectacular job.
Iconic.
It's amazing. Like, it genuinely is amazing what he does. When it comes to books and films, I think in order for the film, this is maybe a new rule I'm making up now. Just when I think about it, actually, see, in order for the film to really be taken to be some sort of a masterpiece or like anything like that, I think it's got to outshine the book. I don't think the Harry Potter films do.
I think that they equal it. I don't think they outshine them, but I think that they hold their own.
I'll say this.
And for me, they're exactly what I felt.
Again, I'll say this, right? I'm not talking about The Half-Blood Prince, which is the movie that you've brought to the table, but I will say the only time I've ever been reading a book and had a tear brought to my eye is in The Deathly Hallows, the bit with the
Pensive.
No, the bit with the stone, the bit with the the bit where he meets his
his parents,
his
because
mum and
he goes
dad.
to die and
That's the only time I've ever had tears in my eyes reading a book. The film didn't match that for me. Obviously, I mean, I'm not coming to this completely from a from an objective standpoint, because that particular part of the book impacted me in a very specific way that might not impact other people. But the book brought a tear to my eye. The film didn't.
Well, see, I have my thing and my bit that
it's not the book.
Make
It's
me
not
cry,
the.
and
It's
the
not the film. It's not the film you're talking about. So it doesn't. I don't know how
and
much
that one, but
helps.
also in the sixth one, cried in the book, cried in the film, and still do every time I watch it, which is for me, because there are films I'll cry at and then become numb to.
For me,
but not that.
I can tell you the bit in Harry Potter. Like, nothing really made me cry in Harry Potter, but the bit that really hit me, and it sounds really daft, but it was see the bit where Molly Weasley, Bellatrix Lestrange in the seventh, which was "Leave her alone, you bitch." That
not my daughter, you bitch.
Sorry, not my daughter, you bitch. That bit, man, that was hard hitting, because like she'd been such a sort of she's like a bit of a battle axe with her reins, but you never saw her in that way, and then all of a sudden she's like fighting somebody who's like arguably
that's her wee girl. That was her hard,
it's like
earned wee girl.
The Harry Potter version of the Joker she was fighting.
Exactly. Aye. She was what Sirius Black was portrayed to be.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
Basically, and they are cousins, so it's like a wee flip to them. But no, I know I come to it from a biased standpoint.
It had an absolutely horrible ending, and I don't mean that as in it was a horrible ending as in it was a bad ending. I mean, it was when you see that and it's like that, he opens a locket and it was all for nothing.
Yeah.
Like that.
Because at the time,
like
what they believed to be true at the time,
it's like an empty victory.
For it all to be worthless is. And do you know what bit it is that gets me? And I'll tell you, it's not. I know when Dumbledore dies, like it's awful, but it's before that. It's when they're there at the Horcrux and he's at death's door, and still he fights them all off. And he's still the greatest wizard that ever lived, and it kills me.
And that's the thing. Like that's one thing I don't think you ever. In the book, it's difficult to convey that. They did convey that very well in the film, and Michael Gambon deserves a huge amount of credit for that.
He's a great Dumbledore.
Very good. Yes.
Alright. I would probably give that one. I don't know.
That
very strong for at least.
No, I
need a bit more talking into.
That specific one for me is my favourite out of all of them. It would be a 5 for me. They're not all. They I'm not going to say that. I'm not that obsessed, but that one is.
For me, objectively, I would say a 4. If I'm talking about personal enjoyment, I would probably say a 3. I'm not a massive fan, and I don't like fantasy, so.
Yeah, like if we ever split up, it'll be because of Harry Potter.
So, for the record, to get us down the podcast, you don't like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings?
No.
And you don't watch any Marvel movies? No. Okay. I just wanted everyone to know that about you.
I'm not a big fantasy guy, but objectively looking at Harry Potter, I can see it being a 4, and I would recommend it probably to most people.
Got my film.
Oh dear.
No, I'm not going Marvel. And this is difficult because, like I said, my sort of favourite films I've got like 12 Angry Men, which is amazing. I've got City of God, which is amazing. Two films I'd really recommend, completely different, but the film I'm actually going to say is The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
And the reason I'm going to say this is because we've had this huge debate about whether or not a superhero movie can be a 5.
Can a comic book based like movie ever be a masterpiece?
But
surely if it's a good enough movie, then yeah, anything
Well,
can be a 5.
the Academy certainly doesn't judge them in the same way.
Well, for somebody that doesn't like superhero films, I would say that I don't think I could rate that film a 5, but I think that it's a very, very good film, and I can't really argue with you using that one. It's one of the few of which that I would actually say that I
Aye, and
It's
similarly,
potentially the only comic book movie that can potentially be argued to be a 5.
I mean,
yeah, like I don't. It's not that I don't like them. I just haven't seen a lot of them, and that's one of the ones I have seen, and I did genuinely enjoy it and was surprised at how much I liked it.
Let's look at the performances. I mean, you've got
totally performance based.
We'll leave the best to the last bit. I mean, let's start with Christian Bale, right?
He's the best Batman.
Best Batman ever. Christian Bale's outstanding.
Yeah, and I hate Christian Bale, but I think he's a good Batman.
But I
That's how
think,
good
I think,
he actually
I
was.
think Christian Bale is one of the best actors of this generation.
He's one of my favourite actors.
See, if you look at, have you
absolutely
seen it?
outstanding.
Like, you look at The Machinist, you look at The Fighter. The Fighter is
Prestige.
amazing.
And that Prestige.
American Hustle. Like,
Oh, I thought that movie was so boring.
It was a shite movie, but he
I
was
thought
good.
it was a good movie.
I just have it's a weird personal thing with Christian Bale. It's not that I think he's a bad actor. He irritates me in a way that I can't.
Big Short, he's amazing
Pinpoint.
in The Big Short. He's amazing in The Big Short.
He's a fantastically
That's
dedicated
true.
actor.
And I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a bad actor.
Guys,
I just don't like
Sam.
him.
Have you heard the story about Machinist, about how
How
they
much
never,
weight?
they never even told him to lose weight, but he just showed up at this. And that, if you've ever seen that film, you'll know what I'm talking about. He's absolutely disgustingly skinny. I think he ate like a can of tuna and an apple a day for about 3 fucking years before that film.
Cat that.
It's a fantastic amount of dedication. And then Batman, I think he must have put on a fair bit of weight for that as well.
Here's the key to his Batman performance though. I think there's a lot, like you look at the guys that have done Batman in the past, you've got George Clooney, Michael Keaton, etc. Adam West.
Adam West doesn't count.
Val Kilmer.
But like I think
Holy mackerel.
But that's what Batman was. That's what it
Superhero.
that's what I mean.
to
Like
be.
some people are very, very good at playing Batman, and like even Ben Affleck, I think, is very, very good at being Batman.
What?
No, but
But
wait.
some people are also very, very good at being Bruce Wayne, and I think Christian Bale is the only one that does both of them really, really fucking
That's
well.
a fair point.
I mean, here's the thing. Let's see, the fact that he was able to deal with the who's the girl that's with the fact that he was able to deal with the love of his life, going from being Katie Holmes to Maggie Gyllenhaal is, I mean, I think it's incredible.
He's not wrong. Even as a woman.
She went from being so hot in Secretary to being something else in Batman and the Dark Knight, man. But she was good. She was good in the Dark Knight. Aaron Eckhart was outstanding as
he
Harvey
was.
Dent.
He definitely was.
Like, genuinely, I before that I was like, Aaron Eckhart, and I'm like, and then you watch him, he's perfectly cast. Then you've got James Gordon. What's his name?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
No. Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman.
Oh yeah, what? I'm
Who-
talking about something else.
I remember from Con Air. Not Con Air, no, not Con Air.
Leon.
Not Con Air, what's it called? What's the one
Harry
with
Potter?
Harrison Ford?
Fifth Element.
No, the other
No,
one.
no, I don't
On the
mean.
plane, Air Force One.
Oh
All these movies that he's a completely like,
You just like, then Gary Oldman is incredible.
he's mental in
God.
Leon. He's mental in Fifth Element,
mental in Air Force One.
and he's really measured and really really
Amazing.
effective in this one.
You've got Michael Caine, who is the best Alfred
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
by a mile.
I don't want to put you.
yeah. Like he's what you think of.
I don't want to be another Batman. How many Batmans you buried? That's a trip, isn't it?
Yes, he's what I think
sorry,
of when I think of Alfred.
Michael
It's
Caine.
just Michael Caine.
It's so indulgent, that show. And then you've got Morgan Freeman, it's Lucius Fox, and then you've got everyone else, because obviously Thingy's in it as well, briefly, Cillian Murphy's in it briefly at the start, and you get going back at Batman Begins, like, Then you've got Heath Ledger, which
like,
is possibly, it's up there with the greatest performances of all time.
changed the
Yeah.
game.
I mean, if you're rating it out of 5, you give him a 6. It's unbelievable.
Just for the performance.
Just him.
Aye.
But
That's what I mean.
That's
Just
the
him.
thing that I've said to Dave, right?
Total game changer for comedy, but maybe for it to be that dark as well. Like,
Oh yeah.
Aye. But see, it's a film, right? See if Heath Ledger wasn't the Joker, right? I would give it a strong 4. I wouldn't. I'd give it a 4.
I know what you mean.
But see Heath Ledger, I think this is what pushes it over. Like, I think that's a once in a generation performance. Like, I think genuinely, if you look at performances in the last 10 years, I would say Mark Ruffalo in Spotlight, who I think, and I know Michael Keaton was really good in it as well, but Mark Ruffalo was amazing. I mean, I don't know anyone who's done a better performance than that. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it's what we kind of touched on right at the top of this when we were talking about how you can play loads of different loads of different actors can approach the same roles with different styles. And it's I think like the Joker's probably the best way to illustrate that, because you get the Jack Nicholson.
You're talking about a golfer.
I know Jack Nicholson clown Prince, where it was comedic, not particularly dark, touched on a little bit of darkness. You've got Heath Ledger's performance, which is like an anarchist Joker, where there's madness but there's method in it as well. There's a goal, there's a purpose to it, and then Jared Leto's complete psychopath performance, where we've
talked about this. This is the only way you can go.
Yeah, it's the only way he could have done it, because there's no way you're going to do Heath Ledger's better than he's.
You can't follow Heath Ledger,
but you also kind of do the
Jack
Nicholson better than Jack Nicholson. So these are like it's a really, really good case study in the way different premier performances have influenced how a character's developed over.
I think he was good as well, Jared Leto. I think
he
he'll
was
never ever get the credit he deserves because he's not Heath Ledger.
It's not that. It's not that. He's set up in a way that he's never going to be able to top the performance by Heath Ledger. There's no like.
What he did is change the character.
But again, that's the issue though.
But that's what you have to do. That's what we're saying.
Because if there's any performance that can drag a movie's grade up, it's that.
Yeah, that was outstanding. And is it the only posthumous Oscar?
Yes.
It's the only ever posthumous Oscar ever awarded. And arguably, if you look,
and he won it for best supporting. Arguably, it was best actor
because of the.
No, I know it's a Batman movie, but genuinely,
it was genius.
It's like, do you know the only way I can describe it right? It's like Christoph Waltz and Inglourious Basterds and then Django.
Yeah.
Like, you've got a film where obviously there's not a main character or there's other stuff going on, but Christoph Waltz is the main attraction.
Yeah,
definitely
isn't Django.
Yeah,
I think
and that's true. I think it's just,
I actually think a few of the characters are better than the lead in Inglourious Basterds, to be honest.
I don't even know.
I think Eli Roth was really good in it, actually.
It was Tom Hiddleston. Not Tom Hiddleston. Who's your man from Prometheus and Steve Jobs? Michael Fassbender. He was in it for a bit, and I don't know. Brad Pitt wasn't a lead, and I don't know who the lead was in that. I would have said that it was.
Yeah, it's just there's rules of it.
But I mean,
it's the main, and it's just silly at times with a performance like that.
It's a Tarantino film, so it doesn't conform to normal movie standards.
Who's the main character in Pulp Fiction? Probably Marcellus Wallace. And he got about 3 minutes of stage time when he was getting raped.
Same way,
back to laughing about rape.
Same way, Reservoir Dogs as well. Who's the main character in that?
Tim Roth's character. Oh, Harvey Keitel.
It's just
probably.
It isn't really a main character.
I guess
Steve Buscemi.
Let's wrap this up by before we finish up talking briefly about any films that we are looking forward to watching.
There's a good few films. Inferno.
I really want to watch Sully. Inferno is another one. I really want to watch Inferno.
Yeah. And we were talking about the girl on the train.
Daniel Blake.
Girl on the train.
Girl on the train. I want to see Deepwater Horizon.
A tragic Harry Potter fan, I'm looking forward to Fantastic Beasts because Eddie Redmayne. So there's two things to get.
No, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes!
I think that looks really good. Yeah, I do think actually.
Sully. I think Sully's going to get 4 Oscar nominations.
See, I just don't know if it's going to be that good. It's like...
It could go either way.
I see Daniel Blake is getting Oscar nominations, and I see it certainly winning BAFTAs just because of what it's about and because it's a heart-wrencher.
Sounds good.
No, I can see it. No, I'm looking forward to that.
I show it because of the way it's filmed as well, and because the only thing is it's an indie film.
Yeah. Sometimes they pull it out.
Also, Deepwater Horizons, the Mark Wahlberg one about the BP oil spill.
Really?
That looks really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
You'll
I've
seeing
seen
tell
the
me about
trailer
that.
so many times recently, and I just every time I'm like, really?
I really want to see Brotherhood actually. I think it's out now, but
Brotherhood.
yeah,
Is that not been out for ages?
about a week or two. I think it's not been out a whole lot of time. Maybe 3 weeks. It's the sequel to Kidulthood and Adulthood.
Oh, right.
That's
Oh
what
yeah. I've seen Kidulthood and I've seen Adulthood. What's his name again? Mickey the Idiot from Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
He's really good in those films, man. Like Kidulthood was actually fucking heart-wrenching.
Oh, it was?
Aye.
I was,
See the end
what
of
was
it?
it? I was really like, oh my
See the
god, I
start?
was not
See the
expecting
start?
this.
The start? The start and the end. And the middle.
And the whole thing, well, I was actually shocked at how much I was like, whoa, what?
Oh, I watched Snowden as well. They got Joseph
Yes.
Gordon-Levitt's portrayal
Yes.
Eric Snowden.
I just think that
Edward
What's this film? What's this film? The Scorsese film? This is long-term future.
I think he's terribly cast though. I just don't see him as Edward Snowden. I think he's a great actor, but I just don't see him as Edward
I
Snowden.
think we'll see.
I think
It's
maybe,
one,
maybe
it's
not.
a dark. I don't know. It's a dark horse for an Oscar because I'm really interested to see what the Academy will
They
do
won't
with
get
it.
a fucking Oscar for that. There's no way.
But it's such a like.
It doesn't matter how good this film is and how good the
But they could,
performance.
this is
They will not
2016.
get an Oscar for that film.
There's a lot of Oscar bait. I think Sully's Oscar bait.
And that's not though. Snowden isn't. This
think
is
it
America. This is America you're talking
Silence.
about, and that's not happening.
Silence.
There's enough people in America.
Scorsese,
It's just
Andrew
like-
Garfield.
that's
Aye,
why
but
I'm
it's not
interested.
about the people in America. It's about the.
I've not heard much about
It's
that.
about, as far as I'm aware, it's about 2 missionaries who are going to seek after their like kind of leader in Japan, but it's like persecution of them by like the local people, and it's meant to be like the book. I've never even heard of the book, but the book's apparently phenomenal, like unbelievably good. It's by a Japanese author, and yeah, Scorsese's been wanting to do it for 20 years, and he's finally doing it. And this is apparently going to be unbelievable.
Cool.
So that's that. I was reading an article about it, and that's the thing that I'm really excited for. I've no idea when it's coming out, but I'm really excited for it. Also, new Star Wars, but scared.
No.
I think no. I've watched the trailer. I think it'll be good. It's risky because they're trying to make Star Wars an annual event now, and I'm just worried about how we're going to be overexposed to it, and if it's
What
going to
I
be
don't
I'm already
Okay.
overexposed to it.
Because, well, okay, but objectively, like I know, I don't really understand where does it fit?
So it's almost I don't know if you can call it a prequel story, but it kind of is a prequel story. It's a prequel to A New Hope. So it's
Okay.
like it's the gap between episode 3 and 4. Try to bridge the gap between episode 3 and 4.
What's it
Okay.
called again?
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
I-
Still
I'm-
not particularly bothered with
I'm
seeing
hopeful.
it, but
I'm hopeful, but I'm also conscious. Try to turn Star Wars into an annual event is risky.
I took Alison to see Star Wars, and she fell asleep during it, and then woke up and then got to the end and said that was actually amazing. So I was like, you're kit.
How do we feel about
I fell
the-
asleep during the Phantom Menace. That's a true story.
Yeah,
That's the shit.
how
And
do we-
that speaks to a lot of my
What's the new
feelings about Star Wars.
What's the new Star Wars film about? Well, it's about trade rights. It's about international
Well, okay, yeah,
trade law.
but I have actually seen 2 of the old ones as well and didn't enjoy them, and I genuinely have tried and
Empire
failed.
was amazing.
Sorry.
Yeah, Empire's of 5.
How do we feel about Assassin's Creed?
Have you seen the trailer?
I've seen the trailer and it's one of those what do we call a teaser trailer, I suppose. I don't think there's much
bad
in it.
feeling. I love the games, right? I'm
feeling about this.
a huge Assassin's Creed fan.
You're
but
gonna have
I'm
a bad
feeling-
time.
Your feelings serve you well.
It's such a
judgment.
it's such a story based game
That's Phantom Menace.
that it
Script
could
has to be-
I was asleep.
it could translate well into a film, but
Was right at the start.
I was about 15.
Was right at the start.
I think it's going to flop. I think Assassin's Creed is going to flop. I've just got a bad
Question.
feeling about it. I'm not convinced.
I'll tell you what's out
Name me a
there.
main character from Nathan Drake. Name me an actor.
An actor.
It's
We were
really
talking about
annoying
this.
me because there's only one person I can think of.
Is
who can
Nathan
really
Drake
play
the
under
Uncharted
looks.
the
guy?
guy that's on my t-shirt, not this t-shirt, obviously.
I think the Uncharted movie is a good idea. I think doing that. I think it might be. See, I tend to think
Who's
that
your
movies.
Nathan Drake?
It's only Jared Butler, it looks like.
Oh, fuck off.
Which
Kendall.
nobody really hots me.
He's not funny enough.
No.
He's not anything enough.
Or
He can't
American.
act. He can't do an American accent.
Tom Hardy.
He's fucking
Just
too
from my own
fat.
self-indulgence.
Fuck off, he can't act. You seen 300?
Yeah, he's getting 300.
Have you seen that? London's Burning. It's the
London Has
shittiest. London's Fallen. Sorry, it's the
It's
shittiest film I've seen in my life.
It's the exact same thing. It's
I think Uncharted movie is a good idea. I haven't really decided. I don't know. They need, that's the key though, is casting Nathan
who
Drake.
plays thingy? Who plays
Sully?
No, Sully. You could do it.
Harrison Ford can play Sully.
So could
You're so
thingy.
right.
So could Stacey Keach.
She's not a bit old.
Is he not
It's
old?
Harrison Ford. What about
I would.
He needs to be a bit old. Is Sully?
Oh, yeah, it's quite old. It's actually a biopic and he is an old
It's
man.
like, you know,
plays
he's the classic.
Chloe?
I'm too old for this shit. Can I get?
Who plays Chloe?
Do you know? Don't know.
We need to do
Depends if she's in it. Depends what story they go with.
Who plays his actual bald?
Is that the one with the black hair?
Chloe's one with black hair.
So that would be Claudia Black, who plays the girl in the game.
Claudia Black doesn't look anything like her though.
Ah, but she does kind of.
I only know as far as Nathan Drake himself.
Plus Claudia Black doesn't do it.
I'm looking forward to
Claudia
that.
Black also did Morrigan in Dragon Age.
She was also in. She did. You're right enough. She was in Stargate and Farscape.
Yeah, she's done lots of stuff, man.
It's all a bit sci-fi.
What's the thingy? What's the other girl called?
Hmm?
The American lassie reporter.
Yeah, she could. I don't know.
Random blonde.
Depends if she's even in it. Well, it depends what story to go with. I think Nathan has to be in it.
Usual
Sully has
Vicky.
to be in it, but the story could be anything.
Usual hooks
What-
on number
what-
3.
Oh, she's not, but
No, I'm kidding, that's
she's
just,
actually
you know what I mean.
she's a really fleshed out.
Quite a bit of
girl,
Harvey
yeah.
Golden girl. She's maybe a bit too old, but
What was her name again?
Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike.
She doesn't look anything like her.
Do you know him?
No.
Do you know what's out? Can I not that soon, but soon enough? And it's maybe I'm curious, but Trainspotting too.
Nah, no.
What are they going to even? I just can't even picture it. I can't
I
even
want to-
imagine.
I hope what they do in Glasgow is that they do a showing where they do Trainspotting and then Trainspotting 2 right after it. But anyway, that's
Do you know they filmed part of that in Bellshill?
There we
Of
go.
all places. The Orb in Bellshill.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I
I
drove-
need,
I
I need
drove-
local facts.
I drove by it when they were filming and I was like, why is that road shot? And then about 4 weeks later I found out.
Anyway.
I just think cool story, bro, to have in sign language.
Anyway.
He could have said that, or he could have had us. He could have said I have a small penis and I like to dance because that's what it seemed like to me.
That's the films we're looking forward to. We'll come back and we'll continue to try and figure out the format for this.
Or possibly unnamed movie
I
book
will
club.
try to go back in the obscenities.
Four tits at a table.
But I think that was a
Maybe.
good intro. That was enjoyable. It was worth. Yeah, that's worth it.
Fuck it. why
You've
not?
now maybe get insight into the kind of films we like. But let's try and be more concise next
Other
time.
films we
Let's
don't
try and work out a
And
format.
the kind of people we are.
Yeah, just pick a film for us to watch.
No, we'll do that. We'll
pick
do
something
a film each to the table, and one film we'll all have to watch. I
that
think.
you pick.
That you guys pick. Tell us what to watch. And tell us what to watch and pick apart and destroy.
Backdoor sluts now.
Anyway, thanks very much for listening, and we'll be back soon, or not soon, or whenever.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Cheers.
Bye.